Good afternoon. Welcome to my talk on speaking plainly. We've got 8 minutes and 24 slides, so let's board this flight. Flying aboard a commercial aircraft is arguably one of the safest things that anyone can ever do. While many fear flying, you're more likely to be killed by a fall, a bee sting, riding your bike, or even a lightning strike. Every year, the FAA and the NTSB spends millions of dollars investigating incidents as little as miscommunications between pilots and air traffic controllers to airplane crashes resulting in fatalities. Out of these investigations have come reports, checklists, new safety methodologies, mnemonics, catchy jingles for checklists, and more. We'll examine the lessons the aviation industry has learned over the years, often with great cost to others, and see how we can apply those lessons to our professional lives. By the way, I'm a pilot. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Justin Nash. That's a picture of my incredible family. I'm owner and founder of Simply Binary, co-owner and founder of Simply Binary, a software consulting company here in Greenville where we build apps for people and businesses to bring their visions to life. We also founded Slipstream, a small business process management tool for automating, documenting, and tracking your business processes. Lastly, I'm an instrument-rated pilot, which is a fancy term for they let me fly and they let me fly in the clouds if I want to. I imagine that most of you can name the first man to step on the moon. And I'd imagine that a lot of you can name the second man to step on the moon. Does anyone here know who stayed back in the command module? Michael Collins it is. So Michael Collins coined his checklist the fourth crew member. They were that important to him. The mnemonic checklist PAVE reminds me that I need to follow my pre-flight checklist. That I need to make sure the pilot is okay, the aircraft is safe, and where I'm going from are fine. In the event of an emergency, such as a spin, I don't want to be thinking, what is it that I need to do? I can't remember, I just need to remember PAIR. Checklists as we know them are born from aviation. They didn't actually exist until a B-17 accident in 1935, where the pilot forgot to remove the gust lock, which is the thing that keeps the yoke locked in place while it's parked on the ground, and everyone died immediately after the plane crash. Boeing, reminding us why we need checklists since 1935. So how are you using checklists today? How many times do you say to yourself, I wish I'd written that down the last time I did it, so I'd have it this time? How are your deployment process, pre-checks, approval for production? How do you make sure they're run the same way every time? What about onboarding and training new employees or engineers? Obviously, I'm a huge fan of checklists, and that's one of the reasons we built Slipstream. A little shameless plug. You can elevate your checklist using Slipstream and build your checklists and processes and guarantee they run right the same way every time. From the moment I decide I'm going to fly until the moment I shut down the engine, I'm making go, no-go decisions. Using my checklist, looking at the weather, checking out the plane, I might go from go to no-go at any moment. An idiom I like to live by is better to be on the ground wishing I was flying than in the air wishing I was on the ground. Personal minimums help me guardrail against my strong desire to go flying. Are the winds above my personal minimums? What's the height of the lowest cloud layer? In business, should I take on this project I might not be qualified for? Should we deploy on Fridays? What about over the holidays when less people are available to support if something goes wrong? I really value the weekends with my family. I don't want to be troubleshooting production issues. My personal minimums were different when I was younger. I was way more willing to work weekends if something went wrong. Am I working in production and I was up all night dealing with something else? I'm way more likely to make a mistake. We've all been in a situation we wish we weren't, and we knew when we made the bad decision that led us there that it wasn't the right one. Have you ever written an update statement, highlighted the script, but forgot to highlight the where clause, and you're scrambling to restore backup? If that sounds oddly specific, that's a coincidence and I made it up. In aviation, if we want to increase our personal minimums, we go flying with an instructor who has more experience and allows us to increase our safety minimums safely. What are your personal minimums? How do they apply to you professionally and personally? Review your values, personal and professional. Write them down and use them to help you make future decisions. Reviews, one-on-ones, asking your peers for feedback is a great way to adjust your personal minimums. As you grow and change, though, adjust your personal minimums with a trusted advisor or mentor. Got to get there-itis. We all want to get there quickly. We all have it, and most of the time it won't kill us. Sometimes it will. Having broken his ankle 3 weeks earlier, JFK Jr. rolled out to his plane with crutches, departed in near instrument conditions, and without an instrument rating, piloted his plane to his death. Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and other members of the team were on their way to a basketball game when their helicopter crashed. Turned out the helicopter company wasn't authorized for IFR operations, but they really wanted to be at that game. Don't let the dream of the destination cloud your judgment. Don't compromise your values and your personal minimums to get there. Cutting corners, resting on our laurels will always catch up with us. You can always go around is something I learned early in my flight training. You're coming into land, you're at 1,000 feet above the ground or wheels on the ground, doesn't matter. You can always go balls to the wall and be climbing immediately to try again. Why did I use balls to the wall? It's actually an aviation term, coined from when you go full throttle, where you're pushing the balls of the throttle all the way as far forward into the firewall as you can. Going around means if something feels off or you're not happy with something, it doesn't have to be obvious. Go around, climb, try the approach again. You can do the same in business. Running out of time to ship a feature or negotiating a new contract with a customer, you don't like the way it feels? Go around, try again. Sometimes you just need to step away for the day. If it doesn't feel right, scrap the plan. Remember, you're not here doing the Kobayashi Maru. You always have options. Let's talk about normalization of deviance. Normalization of deviance is actually defined by Diane Vaughan after the Challenger disaster. The process in which deviance from correct or proper behavior or rule becomes culturally normalized. Or in layman's terms, doing things you shouldn't be doing, and since you got away with it, feeling like it's okay to do it every time. So here we have our normal, and I'm in a rush, and I had no mistakes, so now I've got this new normal. I memorized my checklist, I don't need to look at them. Now I have no failure, so I've got this new normal. Another time I didn't use my checklist to make sure that the weather conditions were okay, and I got to my destination airport and the cloud layer was too low. Turns out my alternate, the runway was closed, which led to fuel exhaustion, which is a technical term for the plane got really tired. They say that accidents are caused by chains of bad decisions or operational drift. Looking back at the Kobe Bryant and JFK Jr. situations, how many times do you think JFK Jr. or the pilot of Kobe Bryant's helicopter had gotten away with it before they crashed? Once, twice, more? In aviation, you never know when the last time you normalize deviance will be your last. What's this look like to us on the business side? Cutting corners to meet deadlines? What about shipping code without proper testing or review? You risk loss of quality, maybe a small bug, or worse, credibility with your customers. The risks vary depending on the application or business. They can range from loss of fun to loss of money to loss of life potentially. How can we prevent operational drift? Evaluate your businesses, your processes regularly. It may not be life or death in all of the businesses, but it can affect the prosperity of your company. Document your processes. Like I said, we've built Slipstream that will help you document them and make sure they run the same way. And speak up. If you have an idea, put it forth. A lot of businesses are doing things because we've always done it this way, but likely they got this way because of operational drift. So, if I may speak plainly, remember, use your checklist every time. If you don't have them today, make them. Identify and respect your minimums, which means respecting yourself too. You can always go around and don't normalize deviance, but please normalize your databases. Thank you.